But in crunch time, we rush like fourth down.
I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. I be taking wins, we don't mess with laws. We been on that paper chasing all that fashion. We been on that paper chasing what you ration.
Been in the grind now, we ready for prime time, ready for shine now, we ready to get smile. On the rise, all eyes up on us now. Blast off spaceships till the touchdown.
Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though.
And what's good, people? What's up? My name is Pro, short for Professor. I am a professor, which is really just a teacher for older people. But it has a cool name. It sounds cooler, doesn't it? When you say professor. If I said teacher lyrical, it wouldn't be quite as cool. Speaking of cool, I got my little Celtic hat. It's blue. Some of us are feeling blue in the off season, but you know, we do what we gotta do when we persist. Speaking of blue, big shout out to our girl Tree. Sending our condolences out to her. She had a passing connected to her family. So her son's father has passed away. Deepest condolences out to her. Needless to say, if everyone watched the show, y'all know how we ride with Tree. So shout out to her. In fact, I wanted to put this up here. That is her GoFundMe little caption up there. I don't know how well you can see that, but if you can't, there's that right there. That's her GoFundMe. I'm gonna stick that in the chat too, so that y'all can see that wherever you're reading it from. That's her Venmo. They're doing funds for that. So her son lost her father, and she wrote, "I lost a best friend last night. Asking for your prayers for my son who's devastated, and also for his beautiful, loving family. Phil loved his family and friends deeply. He was a beautiful dad. He was such a great father to our son. Please reshare this and repost this. I don't have a lot of friends on Facebook, so I'm hoping that this reaches mutuals." So we're sharing that as well too. So shout out for you in this tough time. So we'll leave that up there and leave that on the bottom. Let me maybe edit that to clarify. Let me do one more over here. Put this here. I'm gonna edit this. Right. You can see that there. Yeah. So, in addition to that, really just coming on to say a few things. I've been working for like 3 days, really, on an article. My son was like, "Daddy, why are you still working on this article?" So I read this book today. It's really cool. It's called Race After Technology by Ruha Benjamin. Clever name there. She kind of has a topic of where she kind of takes the new Jim Crow and she calls it the new Jim Code. And so it's talking about race and the race for new technology, as we all know, with AI and, do a lot in quantum as well. So considering that as a piece of what I finished up on my article today, referencing this and about 5 or 6 other sources and just some ramblings I've been doing following up on an article I wrote a few years ago. I'll probably try to publish it in the same publication. It's called Citizen Truth. If you get a chance, check that out. I did a piece in 2020, April 2013. I think it was April 16th, 2013 to be exact, on conspiracy theory and the unfounded COVID-19 connection to 5G. But it's hard to say, getting my numbers wrong. About how 5G was connected to COVID and the virus and vaccine and so forth. Really connected that sort of to the dystopian. This is not an original theme, but a lot of people have made the parallels between the past presidency as well and some of the crazy cries of authoritarianism and so forth. And so I just wanted to link it all together in an article. I just posted it on my LinkedIn, by the way, but I'll probably try to publish it through Citizen Truth, and if they can't, maybe somebody else. It's a little bit more academic in nature than my last one. My last one was a little bit more casual. This one is a little more academic. So shout out to Citizen Truth. Shout out to Truth in general. In fact, let me give you a little taste of Citizen Truth in case you've never seen it. It's not the most popular publication in the world. Actually, this is my old article here. So I just hit Citizen Truth and it popped that up. Wasn't even planning to do that, but why not, right? So this was my old article. If you haven't seen it before, it's called Conspiracy Theorist, as I called CT. This one is for you, though nearly all of your conspiracy theories are just foolish, half-baked ideas. Wrote that in August 16th of 2020. So it's been over 3 years. It was relatively long. This is the length of it. And I got into the very real parts about why we should be cautious of technology and Google and people saving our information and how things like 5G would make it easier. And I felt it was kind of time for an update to update that with the powers of quantum computing coming into the quantum age, my work in quantum, and then obviously with generative AI being all the rage right now too, trying to tap those in. And in reflection, thinking about how I wrote that article in 2020, April. And then we all know what happened in January 6th, 2021 at the Capitol. And sort of what I was calling for was just, kind of people to chill on the conspiracy theories because it can really lead to bad stuff. And obviously, I wrote about the follow-up article about what happened at the Capitol, sort of the erosion of truth and so forth. So that's what I did with that. And my... let's get rid of that there. And my new article, it's not even out yet. I just immediately just posted it on LinkedIn, so it's not really. It's out there in the ether. You can read it. I did the same thing last time too when I did my Citizen Truth. I posted it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn makes it easy to post articles in full length, so it's one of the reasons I put it there. And so if you go to, let's see if I can do it here. Yeah, I can do it. If you go to I guess I have to do it this way though. Ooh, how do we want to share my, if I go to my thing here, here's my LinkedIn. So you can share it this way, you can blow it up. I can make it bigger, I suppose. Yeah, so this is the premise. This is my little title. Not incredibly earth-shattering stuff here for excitement, but Orwellian, or are we well again? Trump, Truth, in the Post-Pandemic Quantum Age, Navigating Fuzzy Reality Amid Conspiracy Theories and Disinformation. Yeah, it's a long title, but that's what I went with. Here's the abstract. This article explores the impact of conspiracy theories amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, 5G, quantum computing, AI, and the war on truth, offering a unique hip-hop perspective of the proliferation of conspiracy theories, including the rise of flat earth beliefs, poses challenges as disinformation and misinformation spread through better 5G technology, with grifters capitalizing on sensational and factually incorrect videos that satisfy society's thirst for blame and accountability for events often out of control without suitable explanations. Drawing inspiration from George Orwell's iconic novels 1984 and Animal Farm, I now shed light on the chilling parallels between his dystopian society and our contemporary landscape, delving even deeper into the persistent challenges of disinformation and the Orwellian-like erosion of truth. So yeah, get into Trump, get into the Capitol attack, talk a lot about that there, strive for facts. talking about COVID, 5G, the impact of quantum computing. There's the part about Ruha Benjamin in her book. It's kind of her calls for caution as we try to consider diverse voices of those on the margin. Similarly, talk about with quantum gains in STEAM and my work with QSTEAM and our UDC program where we're working on quantum as well, and a few other connections. Then I'm talking about using hip hop and comics as metaphorical bridges, and hip hop and using the different songs that are out there to critically think and so forth, and then trying to sum it all up, as well as providing a few resources that I used to write it. So that's that. Again, not super exciting, but that's what I've been up to for the last couple of days. Takes a while. My son was like, "Daddy, why are you still working on this article?" I'm like, sorry. He's telling everyone at the pool, "My daddy's been writing this article for like 3 days." But I kept adding and tweaking and going back, much like making a song. It takes a long time sometimes. So that was the deal. If you're checking out ProQuo, we've been working on music, Quo and I, behind the scenes, working on some stuff. We got a lot of stuff to finish and keep working. Also working on some solo stuff. Working on a track with my son. He was sitting right here in this seat a little while ago, laying down a little bit more vocals for this project we're doing. Shout out to everybody out there that, well, I should say shout out to Dr. Ward and her project. She's got a show coming up on PBS, which will be a little part of as well. So we'll talk more about that. We'll have her on down the line as the show gets closer and closer to airing. We have a ProQuo song out right now also called Gravity. The remix is out. By the way, this should be the unofficial sponsor. How many of y'all drink this junk from the grocery store, the sparkling ice, right? I don't even care if it's the generic version. Certain products are better to get the generic version. Other ones, you got to go with the brand name. This is not one of those that you need to go with the brand name. And the brand name isn't even all that brand. Like, how many people know sparkling ice, right? Like the Shaw's brand or whatever your grocery store is probably will do it. We have out here Safeways. I don't know. Has anybody got Safeways? We got Safeways. So Safeways. I used to tell my son the place next to Safeway where they're doing construction is Not Safeway. That was the name. Not So Safeway. He was like, "Is it really called that?" I was like, "Well, it doesn't look so safe, does it, son?" Yeah, you gotta entertain yourself how you can. Speaking of which, if you haven't got one of those bad boys, there's the sticker. You gotta have one on your computer. If you need one, write to me. I'll happily send you a few. Professor Lyrical, no, the single. That's that. Also reference the single in the article, by the way. You got to do that. That's what you got to do. What else do I got to tell you? Movies. Definitely got to talk movies. Have not seen Mission Impossible, but I know it's doing well. I mean to. I did see the Teenage Kraken movie. Very good. Saw that with my son. Check that out if you get a chance. Some little subtle jabs in there, maybe at the Little Mermaid and Disney in general. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But that was cool. What else? I liked Raiders of the Lost Ark, the new one. I did. Didn't do well at the box office, but I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Thought they did a good job. Spoke about that before. My son has finished up his last week of camp today. Yay, Henry! Finished up tennis camp. So he did basketball, 2 weeks in a row. Then he did basketball/flag football. Then he did baseball, and this week he did tennis at UDC. Had his tough times, took his lumps, also came home with 3 trophies from basketball, so he did really well there. That was the only camp that was doing the trophies. They were not participation trophies, however. Lots of kids sat there on the floor and watched only the kids who won, so the fact he got 3 was really cool. We've been talking about advocating for yourself. We all got to advocate for ourselves. And I want to advocate for conspiracy theorists out there. If you're out there, I want to talk. I talk a lot with y'all on Clubhouse, but I wouldn't mind talking on my own forum. So we got to get some conspiracy theorists up in here. Some self-proclaimed, I want flat earthers. Flat earthers are who I talk to the most. I really should get my man Jamal, who's like the king of the flat earthers on Clubhouse. But that might be too advanced for some of y'all. Might need to start out with garden variety. Jamal's one of the ones who actually knows science a bit. So it's a little bit more fun to try to see people piece together their conspiracies when they haven't studied as much as Jamal. It might be a fun practice for me too to just start out with the garden variety. But I do enjoy speaking with Jamal, so maybe I'll have to try to get him on here. But he is an exception, which is somebody who's really well rounded on the science, to a point. And he's not a self-proclaimed mathematician either, so it's not like we're going down those bunny holes or anything, but he's very well versed on most of the typical concepts and topics that emerge. But that's what I wrote about. I wrote about that. Like I always say when I go into their rooms on Clubhouse, I'm like, hey, how's everybody in Make Pretend doing? So Make Pretend the world is flat. And it's an alarming percentage of the people. I mean, population, yes, it's an under 10% kind of thing. It's probably far below that, but it's still way too much, in my humble opinion. I am wearing my NASA shirt. I was thinking about that today. I was like, yeah, I should have my NASA shirt on. And I do have NASA pajamas. So, yes, I am a NASA fanboy, to their pleasure and ridicule. I am a globe head, as they would call me. I take pride in being a globe head. I'm Team Globe all day. And for those of you just listening or maybe checking the video of this, you're probably saying to yourself, how is it possible that somebody could be a flat earther in this day? There's lots of them. So there's lots of them out there. It's hard to express, but they exist. Their general premise is that, I hate to say it, and paraphrase for them, but their general premise is that the world is flat. They don't really say why. They just say that they don't believe it's round because that's not what their eyes show them. And it's when you ask for a rationale, it's usually because of control, which tends to believe that there's a conspiracy behind it, keeping it from most people. Maybe NASA's in on it. Maybe they're not. Usually it's the idea that NASA and the scientists there are a bunch of liars and they're keeping it from you, or that they're just doing their due diligence with their head down, crunching numbers, while the big higher-ups are the ones keeping the big secrets from you. I don't know how those higher-ups would be doing that for 500 years and keeping the mathematics and science away from everybody who's clearly advanced in their science and math since 500 years ago. But hey, that's the conspiracy. Oh, they don't believe any of the footage from NASA is real, or the ISS. Most of them don't believe satellites are a thing unless they're weather balloons. They have a whole different concept of the sun and the moon. They think it's smaller. It's inside of a dome. The Earth has ice walls on it. Is pretty popular out there in their literature. It's a flat Earth, think of like a cutting a log, like a slice of the log. Like a flat log is not a bad way to think of it. So it just happens to be round. That's it. Not really too confident with gravity. Most of them don't believe in that kind of stuff. And so it's interesting. There's a lot of conspiracies packaged in there. So I would really enjoy speaking it because, for one, just reflecting on my article that I wrote back in, like I said, in April of 2020, and fearing all sort of the 5G conspiracies, where they would go during the Trump presidency, during COVID, knowing it was coming up on, hearing Bill Maher warn people about, like, I don't think the president's going to leave, Trump's not going to leave office, which played out. He was one of the few people who came out and said that. I have a lot of issues with a lot of his stances on a lot of things, but needless to say, he was right on that. And it had me thinking, man, I really want to write an article about the danger of, Trump heads, conspiracy theorists, and so forth. And not to even slight Trump heads, but just to, I had heads in my head because they were called, Earth head, flat earthers, and whatever. Globe heads, whatever they want to call us. But just, I wanted to put the article together because I was thinking of where this could go and how it could get really bad. And so I don't take lightly conspiracy theories like flat earth, even though they seem, innocuous. Who cares what people think? I care when it starts to be bad science and bad math proliferating as actual fact. So that's kind of why I did that. So that's making our way into some of our music, those kind of ideas, into some of our writing, our scholarship, our teaching. When we design programs, how can we engage more diverse audiences who have rights to be concerned and skeptical of a lot of things that happen in our government, where a lot of people are marginalized from the conversation, as well as marginalized from the technology and the powers that be out there. So there's a lot of real gripes out there that are packaged into that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, how can you possibly think this particular thing holds some weight, right? So that's what we're doing. If you get a chance, you're looking for a book that talks about some of those things, Race After Technology. Oh, speaking of conspiracy theory, so I bought this morning. I was up by main campus. Some of you have heard Politics and Prose. It's a very famous bookstore in D.C. Well, this one up at the Van Ness campus, which is right next to where I is. I go over to get the book, and ironically, sort of ironically, right next to campus, I forgot until last night that I was like, yo, that's right next to Comet Ping Pong. For those of you who don't know, Comet Ping Pong is the home of Pizzagate, right? So it's just a pizza place or whatever, right? So that's where the gunman went in and believed that Hillary Clinton was running a ring of kids and just trafficking, and those things are in the news and the movies out there that's doing its thing or whatever. So I took a couple pictures while I was there too. I was like, it's a world famous spot now. It's just, you don't think it when you're there. It's the building right next to, it's attached to it, basically. It's right next to this. So when I was there today, getting some food in there as well and reading the book, trying to round out my article by reading this thing. Read this one day. Can't recommend it enough, by the way. So it gets into valid criticisms and claims, as opposed, obviously grounded in fact and research, as opposed to just whimsical. I shouldn't say obviously. When you read it, it's obvious. This is a scholar and a author who wrote this Race After Technology. So if you're looking for a book that talks about some of the warnings out there of, AI and whatever that's coming down the pipeline in technology and computing, that's a good one. It was written in 2019. It's still very, very relevant right now, of course. So yeah. I'm going to probably leave it there. So again, condolences and shout outs to our girl Tree. That's the information on the screen right there for the GoFundMe. Put it in the chat as well. Not sure how well the scan up there you guys can see, but that's the QR code for Tree's situation. So shout out to her again. And we're about out of here. I gotta go because I only had till about 10:45. I just wanted to cover that. So we got some stuff coming up. Keep you in the pipeline, and we out.